Which newspaper published a paean of praise to Hitler and the Nazis 90 years ago today? Here's a clue. It's a newspaper which only a week ago published an article advocating for continuing the UK's close relationship with the blood-stained Saudi dictatorship, and for the glad handing of the country's head-chopping tyrant, Mohamed Bin Salman, when he visits Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Bin Salman disappeared journalist Jamal Khashoggi and thousands of opponents who stood in his way. His regime continues to imprison women for the peaceful expression of support for women's rights. Homosexual acts are punished with flogging, life imprisonment and capital punishment, and beatings and torture during interrogations are routine. Saudi Arabia also continues to conduct illegal airstrikes against Yemen, including many civilian targets, which have killed and wounded thousands of civilians, much of it with the help of British aircraft and weapons. And just 4 days ago, Human Rights Watch reported that Saudi border guards have killed at least hundreds of Ethiopian migrants and asylum seekers who tried to cross the Yemen-Saudi border between March 2022 and June 2023. So that's why Bin Salman will be delighted to read the commentary of a columnist who defends the decision to invite such a murderous tyrant to Downing Street, and why it perhaps shouldn't surprise us that 90 years ago, the newspaper's European correspondent, Selkirk Panton, wrote an article in praise of Nazi Berlin and commending Hitler for cleansing the city of its gay community. Many are likely to have ended up in concentration camps. Hitler, he reported, had closed the haunts and underground dens of the homosexuals, and far more besides, constructing what Panton made seem like a new utopia. Exuberant compliments flowed effortlessly from his pen. Berlin, he observed, is the same as the pre-Hitler city, plus the employment, the hope, faith and belief in the future which Hitler's victory has brought to Germany. Beneath everything there is an undercurrent of the new spirit of Hitlerism, the will to fight against circumstances, the will to refuse to become a doormat of fate. They walk along the street with more spirit. There is more work. More streets are being repaired at the present moment in Berlin than ever before. There are more motor cars on the streets. There are more happy faces. Uniformed Nazi thugs, according to his report, appeared almost as guardian angels of the new paradise. Panton reported that the Nazi stormtroopers in their smart brown uniforms, strangely enough, do not swagger along puffed out with the arrogance born of victory. They merge into the crowd and seem one with the people. They seem busy young men, most of them hurrying along the streets with a portfolio clasped under their arm. Which newspaper published this eulogy to Hitler and the Nazis? Can you guess? The Daily Express. Please note that due to the difficulty of obtaining Creative Commons images, some of the photos of Nazi Germany and all those of the concentration camps were taken after August 1933 and are of camps that were set up much later. However, at the time of the article's publication, Hitler had been in power for over 6 months, and his Nazi thugs had already arrested, disappeared or murdered tens of thousands of his opponents, as well as journalists and Jews. Dachau concentration camp had been in operation from March 1933, and documentation shows that the camp was already murdering its inmates by June. As early as April, an estimated 40 to 50,000, many of them communists or social democrats, had been taken into protective custody, often inside concentration camps. And it was not just Hitler's political opponents who were the victims. In April, the Nazis had organised a countrywide boycott of Jewish shops, and, long before the article's publication, Jews were already facing intense discrimination, harassment, violent assault to themselves and their businesses, and the all too real danger of being lynched. In a letter to his parents, written a few days after the article's publication, the Daily Express correspondent wrote, "I hit the leader page with my article and I've been hit by the Jews in return. They seem to hate me." Reading the Daily Express correspondent's eulogy to Hitler, one can well understand why they might have had good reason to. Please like, comment and subscribe.